So you've got your blockbuster premise for a story, but you don't quite know how to flesh it out. Well, in this lesson, we're looking at exactly how to turn your premise into a block-busting story using the 3 core elements. Let's get started. This video is a lesson from a full free mega course on our website. If you're ready to supercharge your storytelling, click the link in the description and start your journey today. This video is also part of a series, so if you haven't watched the previous videos, there are links down below. To start, let's review exactly what a premise is. We first talked about the idea of a premise in our lesson on plot, but to summarize, it's the bite-sized version of your story. It may also be called a log line, and it's usually only a sentence or two, but it contains just enough info to hook your audience in and give them the general idea of what they're in for. In our example from that lesson, we described the premise of Shrek as, in order to get his swamp back, an ogre must rescue a princess, but ends up falling in love with her. There is no one premise for a story, and yours probably won't start with this much detail. A premise is by far the easiest way to start your story. There are 2 reasons for this. First, it ensures there is enough meat in the idea for your audience to be interested. If you can hook somebody in with just a sentence, your job is half done. If you want to know more on the different levels of premises, we talk about it in the extended version of the lesson on plot. Second, it usually contains some part of the goal. Our Shrek example is perfect, as it not only contains Shrek's initial goal of reclaiming his swamp, but also his shifted goal of wooing Princess Fiona. Because of this, the best way to translate a premise into a story is to figure out the goal at the heart of it. If your premise is about a person breaking a world record, for example, there is already an inherent goal, which would be, obviously, breaking the world record. Once you boil it down to a goal, you can figure out the need and the and tag, and then expand out from there as covered in the previous lesson. So let's actually see this in action. We'll expand on our premise a little more and make it a washed-up juggler tries to reclaim his fame by breaking a juggling world record. This is easily something you might spot on a streaming site as a movie description, so we can safely say this is a pretty average premise. So first, we bring it back to the goal. Here, the goal inherent in the premise is to break the juggling world record. Also in our premise, conveniently, is the want, which would be fame or glory. So from here, we can easily flesh out most of the plot. So now we ask our 2 questions to figure out our need and our and tag. 1, what lesson will this journey best illuminate? We can imagine this will be a struggle with a lot of practice and hard work. Maybe going through this physically taxing experience will best teach our juggler that if they want to do this, they need to do it for themselves. Maybe their need is self-validation, as their flaw of seeking external validation will always lead them to unfulfillment. This also fits in with our want, since fame is all about external validation. And question number 2, what are the natural obstacles in trying to achieve this goal? We could have a previous record holder who tries to sabotage our juggler, or the physical limits they must push themselves to and the mental strain of juggling for a long period of time, or even just affording to spend all this time practicing after quitting their job to pursue their goal. We can use some or all of these, but once we've locked in our and tag, we have the final core element. So now our goal, to break a juggling world record. Our need, self-validation, and our and tag, a previous record holder. With those 3 core elements, we can flesh out our premise into a full-length story. And in the next lesson, we're going to look at another common starting point, a character, to see how we can use these 3 core elements in another way.